So it seems like Sean Strickland is pretty determined on not fighting Robert Whittaker, so the topic of today's video is if Sean Strickland is ducking Robert Whittaker or not. Let's get to the bottom of this. So in my opinion, I do think Sean Strickland is deserving of the next title shot. In fact, I thought he was more deserving than Adesanya, but in the end they gave Adesanya the title shot, obviously because of DDP's and Adesanya's rivalry. And fair enough, I understand that the UFC is a business, and if they think their company is gonna profit more from giving Adesanya the title shot, then they're obviously gonna give Adesanya the title shot, even though he lost 2 of his last 3 fights and already got his immediate rematch with 0 title defenses in between. Anyways, since then Strickland went on and fought Paulo Costa, which wasn't a crazy performance by Strickland, but he got the win at least, and this should make him very worthy of a title shot in my opinion. But the problem is that Whittaker also fought Costa, and when Whittaker fought Costa, he put on a masterclass of a performance. And since then, Whittaker was also scheduled to fight Khamzat Chimaev, but Khamzat Chimaev pulled out very close to that fight, so Whittaker had to fight Ikram Aliskerov instead, on very short notice may I add, which obviously was a very big risk for Whittaker, because if Whittaker would have lost to an unranked fighter, he would have never been in a conversation for a title shot again. But it ended in a crazy first round KO, which I don't think anyone expected. Like, I picked Whittaker for that fight, but I picked him to win by decision, in classic Whittaker fashion, since he hadn't finished anybody since like 2017 or something. So now Whittaker is coming off 2 really good performances, and Strickland is coming off arguably a robbery loss and 1 lackluster win against Costa, and naturally people have started debating over who's more deserving of a title shot. And I guess the argument for Strickland being more deserving is that he arguably got robbed against DDP, and in the meantime he got a win against Costa. And another argument is that Whittaker got finished by DDP like 3 fights ago. And the argument for Whittaker getting a title shot is that he schooled Costa on the feet and knocked out Ikram Aliskerov in the first round. And you also have to add the fact that Strickland had a very lackluster performance against the same opponent. However, in my opinion, I do think they're both worthy of a title shot, so I think they should just both fight each other and the winner gets it. And I think everyone wants to see that fight, and I also believe that the UFC is trying to make that fight currently. But the problem is that Sean Strickland is very determined on not fighting Robert Whittaker, because he says he believes that he will get the next title shot. And I actually don't believe Strickland is ducking Whittaker. Let's be real here. Strickland does not strike me as a guy who's scared of somebody. The guy literally chose to strike with Alex Pereira. That might just be lack of intelligence though. I just think he genuinely believes that he will get the next title shot, which is not guaranteed at all by the way. If the UFC offers Whittaker the Strickland fight, and Whittaker says yes, which he will most likely do by the way, the UFC can then make the argument that Strickland didn't want to fight and instead give the title shot to Whittaker, which is pretty likely, because we already know that the UFC might not want Strickland as a champion for certain reasons. So I just think Strickland should realize he is in fact not guaranteed a title shot, and he should therefore fight Robert Whittaker, and if he wins that fight, the UFC will have to give it to Strickland. But let's face it, this is not an easy fight for Strickland. Whittaker is one of the most dangerous strikers in the whole division, and one of the best middleweights of all time. He's probably the fastest guy in the division too, and that said, I actually don't see a clear winner here. It really comes down to how Whittaker approaches the fight. If Whittaker backs up a lot, I could definitely see Strickland winning, because Strickland is very good at fighting going forwards. We saw this in his fight against Adesanya, but if Whittaker fights using his blitzes and meets Strickland in the middle of the octagon, I can see Strickland having a very hard time dealing with the speed of Whittaker. Another thing that favors Whittaker is that Strickland isn't much of a power puncher, because we do know Whittaker's chin is a little bit sketchy, and he does get hurt by power punchers like Costa, Cannonier, and DDP. But then again, Strickland's defense is elite, and if Whittaker fights Strickland's fight, he will lose. Regardless, it will probably be an amazing fight, and I really hope Strickland changes his mind. Anyways, I know this is a little off topic, but is it just me, or did Strickland change his entire mentality regarding fighting once he got a taste of that gold? Like, I remember a time where Strickland said he didn't care about being champion and that he was just fighting because he genuinely enjoyed it. Now it just feels like his biggest priority is getting that bag, which I don't really blame him for by the way. I would probably do the same, but still, it's not the same Strickland as the Strickland who was on the come up. I'm still a very big fan of him though, and hopefully he does fight Whittaker and becomes champion once again. Anyways, thanks for watching, leave a like, subscribe, and share this to someone who thinks Strickland is ducking, and comment if you think Strickland is ducking Whittaker or not. And I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.